Welcome to TRS Clips, India's fastest learning portal. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell icon. You know, you said that 99% of practicing Sikhs may not know about the spiritual angles of it. Could you shed some light on those spiritual angles?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing I realized was this old way of thinking, or my immature way of thinking, was that God was some guy out there who you just go to pray for things. So God was always an impersonal being that was out there in the sky. You know, I like to think of it as an old man with a white beard sitting in the clouds, your typical idea of what a God is. And what I was realizing was most youngsters completely rejected that. By the time you reach the age of about 13, you know, I've spoken to so many of them, and they say that I'm an atheist. Because by the age of 13, they said, you know, the God that everyone keeps talking about, I haven't heard about it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And when I began to meditate and understand that there isn't a God out there, or more accurately, the God that is out there is also in here. And so the first message that Guru Nanak brought to the world was this message of oneness. And most Sikhs interpret that as there is one God. There isn't multiple gods, there's one God. But the reality is oneness is something quite different to one God. And where I began to understand it was this body, mind, this thing that I call me is actually not me. And as I began to understand, it made me realize that all the things that I call me are nothing to do with me. So if you just take the example, let's look at this body. Did I make this body? And you say, no, I didn't make this body. It was just given to me. Did I choose my own name? No, I didn't even choose my own name. Did I choose my religion? No, I didn't. So what you begin to realize is all the things that you think is me, my identity, I began to realize none of these things are me. And so it led me on this quest. Well, is there really a me? And the teachings of Guru Nanak made me understand that the idea of me is the cause of all my problems. And I was able to reduce and simplify Guru Nanak's message into really a message of oneness, which was that we don't know who we are. And who we think we are is making us miserable. And that was the big change in my life, that I think I am me. And because I think I am me, it makes my life full of misery. Because there are so many things that come with me. Me then says, well, I want this and I want that. So I have ambition, I have desires, I have frustration that life is not going according to my plan. And once you begin to realize the root cause of all of that is me, this idea that I think I am, once you're able to let go of something so close to you, which is me, you begin to realize there is no me. All that there is oneness. And that's quite an uncomfortable thing for most people. Most people are saying, well, I'm happy with being me. I don't want to let go of me. I quite like me. I just want to change everybody else. I don't want to change myself. And I realized that the biggest problem in life was really this idea of me. And over time, I just got more and more fascinated by trying to dissolve this idea of me, letting go, constantly letting go of all these things which attach onto the me, my negative thinking, my self-imposed limiting beliefs, all of these pressures that I have about I think life should be like this and like that. And every time life doesn't turn out that way, I feel depressed, I feel anxious, I feel worried. And so it's not that I've solved all those problems in my life. I'm just able to catch myself now every time that I do that. And that's what Sikhism has really taught me, that you're able to live a totally different way of life compared to what the media and society and your parents tell you. There's a completely different way of living.
Yeah. You know, I'd like to kind of bring in a teaching from the Buddha. He said that every kind of sadness arises out of either expectation or ego. And that's pretty much kind of in line with what you're saying. Even expectation comes from a place of ego. I want that thing. But the key word is I. I want that thing because it'll give me happiness. And it's kind of a very deep spiritual lesson you've touched upon, which you may not even learn in in the beginning of your own spiritual journey. It takes you some time to understand that. I also feel that this concept of God, I think it's Ikonkar, the concept you're basically talking about. And I'd love to hear what Ikonkar means to you specifically, and when you had that switch when it came to the meaning of Ikonkar, For me, I feel God is a very personal thing. It's different for everyone. It's subjective for everyone. Someone might visualize something. Someone might think of God in a certain way. What I've come to realize after 6 years of meditation and really opening up spiritually is that I feel there's some sort of an energy or a light inside you. And it's inside everybody. Even the most evil people, even the worst human beings have that energy or light inside them. And the spiritual journey just brings you closer to that light. Think of a road that goes and hits that light. The more spiritual you get, the cleaner that road gets. And that's why the habits of meditation, that's why the habits of treating people better. It cleans up and smoothens out that road to finding that light inside you. Do you look at it in a similar way? Or, I mean, I'd love to know your subjective opinion on this.
Absolutely. For me, how it begun was exactly how you're describing it, was that God was no longer out there. God was something that was within me. But the more I've studied, the more I've meditated on it, I've begun to realize that God is not just something that's within me. In fact, it's absolutely everything. And the way I try to describe it is, it's as though a fish is swimming around and trying to ask all the other fish, where's this water that everyone keeps talking about? And the idea is that this becomes so difficult to see because the fish can't see the water. He's in the water. He's breathing it in. Every time he opens his mouth, the water is there. He's made of water. And it becomes a realization that if you're going searching for God, as soon as you do that, you've lost the plot. You've gone the wrong direction. And the first realization is to understand that every single thing, physical and non-physical, is God. So this is where, if we take these ideas of sarguna and nirguna, that which is formless and that which has form, absolutely everything is God. So the idea of oneness now becomes, what isn't God? And that becomes a very interesting question, because as long as you say God is something inside me, what it allows is for some part of you to be not God. So you can say, yeah, God is the good part of me, but I have some bad parts as well. And what you do is you retain your ego. And Guru Nanak's philosophy is all about complete self-destruction, to the point at which there is zero part of you that you can call you. This is not my hand. This is not my body. This is not my mind. These are not my thoughts. This is not my past. This is not my family. This is not my future. And that, for most people, is almost a step too far. But the gurus and all the spiritual masters of all traditions have basically said, if you want to know God, you have to completely dissolve in it. It's like you can't keep reading about the ocean and doing lectures on the ocean and doing exam papers on the ocean, but you've never been there. You've never swam in the ocean. You've never tasted it. You've never felt it. The best way to know the ocean is to go and swim. And you have to dissolve in the ocean, and then you begin to really understand what it is. And so this is the best way to understand what God is God isn't a one thing. In fact, everything is God. And this is where oneness really starts to make sense, that it is absolutely everything and everywhere. So right now it's God talking to God. It's not me talking to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And when you have that mental switch, it also brings a lot of peace to what you call your mind.